Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everyone is having a good day. Welcome to episode 4 of the Pace Pals podcast. I here have Dalent as my special guest.
What's up?
So, welcome on in. It is a honor to have you here.
No, thanks for having me.
So, uh, would you like to tell the audience what speedrunning categories and games you run?
Yeah, so I guess brief introduction. My name is Dale/Dalent/Volantis. My real name's Dave, but any of those are acceptable. I'm a speedrunner primarily in the Mario, uh, 3D Mario space. So I kind of started my primary speedrunning game is Super Mario 64. But from there, I transitioned into multiple Mario games. So kind of longer speedruns where you do different Mario games back to back. So I speedrun Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, Super Mario 3D World, and Super Mario Odyssey. Sometimes one after the other, all in a row. Like these speedruns can take a long time. Like my 602 PB is just over 30 hours, so quite a long run. And then I also have some experience speedrunning Diddy Kong Racing. So um, yeah, those are kind of the games I speedrun. I've been speedrunning for geez, a couple of years now, probably since 2020 or 2021, early 2021, maybe late 2020, somewhere in there.
So, like, right around where the pandemic hit, I'd say.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess if I go a little more back, my history with the speedrunning community is quite a bit older than that. Like I've been kind of watching speedruns on and off since probably 2012, where I discovered Siglemic speedrunning Mario 64 through Reddit and kind of following the Siglemic versus Honey speedrunning. I think it was 2012, somewhere around there. Siglemic versus Honey kind of going for the world record, going for like 143 and stuff in 120 stars. So obviously now we're down to significantly lower than that. Um, but from there, I kind of found my way into the Zelda speedrunning communities as well. I have never really had an interest in running Zelda myself. I did play around with some OT stuff, but I never really got into it. But I became a big spectator of it, watching Narcissa Wright, then known as Cosmo Wright, a lot of Clint Stevens, um, and then from there, I actually, when the pandemic started, I kind of got back into watching Clint Stevens' YouTube videos, and from there, I got recommended to watch the Freshman 16 Star Tournament put on by Simply, because Clint was in that, and that introduced me to Simply's community, and then I joined Simply's community, and then from there, kind of through the friends I met and stuff, and then started running Mario 64 from there. So yeah, that was kind of how I got my start in actually running, all because of Clint Stevens and watching those YouTube videos at the start of the pandemic.
So you would say that they pretty much inspired you to get into speedrunning?
Oh yeah, no, like I mean, I've been watching speedruns for years, but I never really had an interest in doing it myself. Um, just figured, it's not really my thing to play it over and over again. But then the joining Simply's community and actually becoming like an active member of it. Like I had been an active member of Clint's community, but Clint was never really like the community was never really about the speed run. It was about Clint, if that
Yeah.
makes more sense. Whereas simply at the time was like the world record holder in 120 star, and he was obviously he had a community of a lot of different Mario runners. Became friends with a lot of people who were running Mario, and then kind of got into it through them. Like some even now, Callie, one of the kind of up and coming top runners now, has a sub 140 now. Uh, kind of became friends, and we would hang out in VCs and whatnot, and just play Mario. Callie, Curry in the house, Stommer back then. Yeah, and then just having that community and hanging out in VCs there and making those friends, it just was a thing to do, especially with like everyone staying home during the pandemic and not being able to go out. Just seemed like a good time to get into it. I imagine
Yeah, and
that's pretty common for
yeah,
a lot
and
of
I
people.
think that's what happened to a lot of people. Is a lot of people started picking up streaming
Yeah,
and speedrunning at the same time when the pandemic hit because you're stuck indoors. It's like what else are you gonna do? You know?
yeah, exactly. I mean, like I've been also in the streaming space for significantly longer than that. Like I my initial Twitch account existed before it was called Twitch. It was transferred from Justin TV. So
Oh yeah,
I've been here for a while. But a lot of that was various things. Like I initially came for StarCraft. I was big into professional StarCraft. When StarCraft 2 came out, I really fell in love with StarCraft 2, and then I had a roommate in first year university in 2010 who he was Korean, and he introduced me to like the pro StarCraft Korean scene, and I fell in love with that. And then from there, I found the streaming, and then obviously from there I was able to find the speedrunning communities, and yeah, so uh, I did stream a StarCraft before. I streamed some League, I streamed some Counter Strike and stuff. Started speedrunning on stream, and that became like when I actually started growing on stream. Like I never really streamed seriously or you know
yeah. It
consistently
just became
before.
it was a hobby at first.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it never bypassed, or sorry, it never progressed past a hobby, even with the peaks. But
Yeah,
I've been able to do some cool things with it. Um, like I've done a few like I mentioned earlier, a 602 race, which is a multiple Mario speed run. It's a big biannual race, and my first 602 that I did, I actually did a fundraiser, and I was able to raise over $1,000 for charity. So
nice. Let's go.
yeah, like honestly, just the communities are absolutely insane and nuts. And I mean, there were a lot of fun things to come from that. Like I had to dye my hair bright green. I had to cosplay as Rosalina.
I think I think I remember something like that.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
yeah,
100% sure, but I know I think it was the green. I think it was the
yeah,
green
yeah. The bright
hair.
green, that was Laysauce's idea.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, he was the top donator, I think, at the time. So he wanted green. It was basically they got to pick whatever color. And
Nice.
then my original goal was to raise $602 because it was a 602 star race and $602. So and then after we hit that, and we hit it so early, and I was just like, wow, this is insane. And like I'd also put it out there, like for a few of my coworkers, and my aunt came in and donated too. And most of them, they didn't really understand the speed running stuff,
Yeah,
but they
what
were
was going
still
on? But they
they were
supported the
still like, oh,
cause.
charity, good cause
Yeah.
kind of thing. Yeah. um but anyway, we hit that really early on, so then I added a stretch goal of $1,000, and that one was for the cosplay as a Nintendo or a Mario character of my chat's choice. And then they thought Princess Rosalina would be great because obviously I'm a 6'4", like over 300-pound bearded guy. So
Perfect choice.
dressing up as Princess Rosalina was obviously I mean, it was a great costume. I was fortunately able to like I had somebody who had a little experience in dressing up, who was able to help me find a site to order that from, and got some stuff. And yeah, and then obviously that I was able to do that on a different stream. And honestly, it's just been really fun. Like I mean, I kind of have fallen off with the streaming recently, and with the speed running in general as well. But I mean, like I have a lot of, I mean, I would say some of my best friends and stuff are from these communities that I've made through speed running, and just some of my best friends, some of the people I hang out with all the time. I just yesterday booked some flights for December to go see more people from the speedrunning communities that I haven't met
Nice.
yet. So it's like it's really cool just the abilities to make connections and stuff. I've never been, how would I put this? I All of the speedrunning communities that I have been in, so like again, primarily Mario and Zelda related, have been just like the most welcoming and open and accepting groups of people.
Yeah, I
Um,
I 100% agree.
yeah, exactly. Like I mean, it's funny because like you see like big events like GDQ and stuff, just so very open, accepting, and that kind of the community that they foster, right? Like it's funny because like gaming as a whole has a very kind of toxic community image. It like
Yeah.
there's a lot of like the toxic gamer, like the racism and sexism and stuff, and there
Yeah.
is a lot of that in gaming, but speedrunning is just it's the polar opposite, and
Oh yeah.
it's pretty cool because it's just it's been a great experience just hanging out with so many people, making so many friends, and
Oh yeah. And
it's
that's
really cool.
how like I joined the speedrunning community as well. Is I joined I joined Twitch I think 2018 or so. And I was just looking up Zelda games, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, and just really scouring it all. And that's how I found Pope Squidward. I think he was streaming and playing Ocarina of Time at the time. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was that, or he just recently switched over to MM. But that's how I joined the speedrunning community, was through him. And then from there I met Lasos and then Richard Sage, and then from those I met more and more people, and even communities that aren't focused on speedrunning, but like the speedrunning communities and like the speedrunning discords that help have all the tools and all that other stuff. Those people are like so easy to talk to and so helpful and so nice and all that. It's really really amazing of the
Yeah,
like you can go in there and not know anything and ask a simple question, and like 10 people or more will like answer your question for you.
yeah, for sure. It's I've never really been super active in just like the regular like the Mario Discord and stuff like that, but I mean, especially like I said, I got my start in Simply's community, and Simply's community can be a little little cringe sometimes, but for as a whole, pretty good. And then uh obviously from there, like right now the communities I'm primarily in the speedrunning space, um Lasos and Pope Squidward are the two ones that I'm primarily in. And obviously I found Lasos through my connections through Simply, through Callie was in his first tournament, and I was friends with Callie, so that's how I came to there. And then obviously from Simply and Lasos was introduced to Pope Squidward. So yeah, like it's those ones especially. Like I've never felt unwelcome in any of those chats. I mean, obviously I'm a mod for Lasos. I'm one of the most active people in like the Discord and the and Twitch chat and stuff like that. Talk too much, but
And you know what, that is fine, you know.
yeah, yeah. No, and
So
honestly, and it's been like a kind of a goal of mine as well to try and ensure that other people feel that way as well. Like try and
yeah,
make sure
feel
that other
welcome.
people, yeah, like I'm always willing to help people. Like I'm far from the best Mario runner, right? Like I especially like when I was playing a lot of Mario 64, I'm a solid like mid-level runner. So like I could help out new people. Not going to be giving like the highest level advice, but definitely can help out some newer people. But I was always willing to hang out and whatnot, and if anyone needed help, and there's always different places that people can go. I don't. I'm kind of trailing off. I don't know what I'm talking about, dude. I'm
No,
a
it's all
little.
good. It is all
You
good.
know when you start a sentence and you think you have a path and you kind of
It-
go and then you're just like, oh no, I'm losing it.
hey, that is okay. That is what this is all about. It's just learning from where you started. And this is where you started. You know, these
Yeah,
communities and this game and all that. So no,
yeah. No,
you are
it's
perfectly fine.
yeah,
um
it's great.
yeah.
I
So
yeah.
with the Mario, um you said it was the 602. I don't know, like, is
Yeah.
that what it's the category is called, or is
Yeah,
it called by a different
the
category?
game on like speedrun.com would be called multiple Mario games, and the categories in that, the primarily the way that we would identify the categories is the number of stars in the category. So the 602 is like the big premier category. It's 120 stars in Mario 64, 120 shines in Super Mario Sunshine, and 120 stars in Super Mario Galaxy, and 242 stars in Super Mario Galaxy 2. So it's like 100% getting every star, every shine in those 4 games. And then there are the kind of extended categories that include 3D World and Odyssey. Those are kind of the newer games, so they came about after the community already existed, so they kind of became more extended ones. So
Okay.
the 602 is like the premier kind of it's the big race twice a year again. That one's kind of the face of the community. And that's the longest run I've done personally. There are longer runs again, you know, if you want to throw in the other games, but I never have done those ones. I've done the all 6 games in the any percent category, which would be the 540,
Okay.
and that one is doing any percent for all the games except for Mario 64. You get 70 stars because nobody wants to do a 0 star run,
Yeah.
because it's not doesn't make sense.
So
But
so with the
yeah.
602, how do you like prepare? You said it, what? It's your time is like 30 hours or something like that?
Yeah, yeah. So my first time doing it, I made some friends in the multi Mario community, again through Simply's community, and it was actually it was funny because I remember this. Um, there were some friends, and this was kind of when we were playing a lot of like Among Us and stuff, and this one guy, Brent, no, not Brent, Priok. He talked really funny, and anyway, he would go he went to this speedrunner who speedruns a lot of different games. And this speedrunner actually had speedrun Splatoon at GDQ. And this person was the one who introduced me to Multi Mario. They went to his channel, and some people were kind of messing around in his Twitch chat and kind of just like trolling him a bit. Um, and he was just like playing Jackbox or something at the time. But some of these Simply viewers were doing this, and it was a little kind of annoying. The poor uh, I don't remember what he was doing, but he was like, I'm done with this stream. I'm. He wasn't having a good time, so he decided to get off, and he raided one of his other friends who was playing Jackbox. So I was hanging around playing Jackbox because I wanted to play Jackbox,
Hmm.
and I'm like, this was a little lame, but anyway, through that, I kind of met this person, and they introduced me to the multi Mario community. So I at that time I only speedrun Mario 64, and I didn't even really do 120 star. I was primarily doing 70 star. Um, and 16 star. So this was when I was like fairly new. I didn't have a sub hour. I didn't have, like maybe I had like around 20-minute time in 16 star. Um, and then I learned about the 602 and stuff, and then I actually just kind of decided to do it. And I'd never actually beaten any of the other games in the 602. Like even
Oh
casually, I'd never beaten
no.
them. I never really played them much.
So you went
Um,
full on blind into this.
so when I decided to do it, I had probably around a monthish to prepare.
Oh,
So
okay.
for my 602, my preparation was literally I played through Sunshine 120 Shine. I followed a route and I played through it kind of casually, and then I did one full speed run of it. And same thing with Galaxy One. I did the same thing where I played through it casually and I did one full speed run of it. And then I started that on Galaxy 2, but then I ran out of time. So I'd only ever got about 45 stars in Galaxy 2 out of the 242. So I went into the 602 pretty unprepared. So my first time I took about probably around, I think it was 22, 23 hours or something in. I was done the first 3 games.
Oh
And
wow.
I had Galaxy 2 left, which was the longest game by far. And then I went to sleep and I took, I slept for, 8 hours or whatever. Um, and then I went into Galaxy 2. Obviously, it took me quite a while. It took me over 20 hours. I mean, the last star alone, perfect run, because it's kind of the hardest star in the entire run, and it's the very last one. And I'd never even got the chance to practice it or play it. So I went in, and it took me 2 hours and 45 minutes to get that one final star. But like the feeling when I completed it, it was just so amazing because it was like, it was like running a marathon, right? Like
Yeah.
it was hard, but it was so rewarding at the end because it was just like, hey, I accomplished this. Now, granted, I had taken a sleep break, so it was like a 52 hour time or something. Um, once you add it all together, but it was still something that I was very proud of. And
You
then
could pretty much say, "Hey, I completed this. I had this under my belt. And you wear it or like wear it as like a badge. Like I completed this run. You
yeah,
know.
exactly. And then like and so that was my first multi Mario run, and then from there I also did some of the shorter ones. So the 246, which is the same games as the 602, but it's the any% version. So I did that one and did that one a few times. I did the 540, and then I went back into the next 602 race because again they have them twice a year. And my goal was to complete it sleepless, and there's little asterisks on my sleepless completion. It was just a little bit of a funny. I actually was just on stream in the middle of playing Galaxy 2, and I nodded off in my chair,
Oh
and my chat
no.
used a sound alert to wake me up. And there's a really funny clip from that where somebody basically played Crab Rave with a few bits, and it woke me up. And so I took like a 2-minute power nap in my chair, just slumped over by accident. But I completed it in like 32 hours or something like that. Uh, and again, that one was another like really proud moment for me because again, asterisk on the sleepless, but not taking a real sleep break. Like that's not
Yeah.
rest at all. So that was it was very very tough and taxing, and again, like I was tired, but
Yeah. I know
I,
how you feel. Like I did my
yeah,
what was it? I hit like a goal or something. So I was like, you know what? Or it was my birthday. So I do a birthday stream every year, and I did last birthday. I did like a 24-hour stream, and like my hands were just hurting from like all the games we were playing. Just games on the keyboard, on the controller, so on and so forth. Like so, we took like a movie break, and um, and then I get back and I have friends in the Discord, just mods and all that, keeping me awake, and
yeah.
I'm doing a Twilight Princess rando, and I cannot. I was so tired. I was losing it on like what checks to do, and I was literally legit falling asleep in my chair, and I was like, no,
Oh
I
yeah.
I, I can't do this.
Yeah, that was the thing. Like, I mean, if it in that case specifically, like even without the little falling asleep and having somebody play a sound alert, the fact that it was such a long speed run again, like I mean, like for top level players, like the world record's like 19 hours and 15 minutes or something. Um, and it's really impressive. The top players are good at all 4 games. But me, I was mediocre at 64. Like as far as multi Mario runners go, I was above average in 64. I still am. I'm towards the top because 64 is the smallest game in the multi Mario runs. It's the shortest one, and it's the least important of the 4. So a lot of the players that you see that do really well, they're good at the Galaxy games because those are by far the longest. But
Mhm.
for me, being Galaxy games, they're fun. Don't get me wrong, but I don't enjoy them as much as I enjoy 64 and Sunshine. So obviously, if I'm putting most of my time in practicing the ones I enjoy more, so the ones I play more were 64 and Sunshine. So obviously, for me, it's going to take quite a while. So uh, yeah, like I mean, obviously, if I'd been doing that speed run just offline by myself, there's no way I would have finished it, right? Like having that chat there, even if it was just, one person there in the middle of the night,
Yeah.
just, just one person hanging around saying something every now and then, just somebody to talk to. Um,
It
it
really
was,
helps and changes
yeah,
it.
exactly. It really helps. And I mean, I know a lot of people in the multi Mario community. They wind up doing voice calls during the races,
Hmm.
and they kind of go off each other. And for me, I I wouldn't I did a lot of speedrunning in voice calls at the beginning. Um, but I don't like speedrunning in a voice call while also being on stream. So if I'm streaming, I'd prefer to kind of be, talking to the chat, or I'd prefer to be in a or I'd be in a voice call doing the speed run, talking to people in the voice call. Like I don't like to do
Yeah.
both at the same time,
Unless it's like
because I feel like
a
it's,
collab thing or something, not just
yeah, well,
just
like
in a voice call
it's also like,
chilling, streaming and speedrunning.
yeah, like it can get a little annoying being in one of those voice calls because you have like, people talking to their chats and also talking to each other, and it's like
Yeah.
who's talking to what, are they, whatever. Some people are muting to talk to their chat, some people aren't. It was, it was a little awkward, whereas me, I prefer to like have one conversation going at a time. Like, maybe I'll be in the VC talking to somebody, or maybe I'll be in chat. But it's
Yeah.
I've never been a person who um likes having multiple conversations that I can't, keep track of.
Yeah,
um
no, I feel that.
yeah, because I do have ADHD, so it's not the easiest. And I mean, I do find I get even in like slightly larger VCs with, um it's 8 people or more or something like that, for it just gets overwhelming
Oh yeah, no, I feel
having
that. Like
people.
I've been
Yeah,
in VCs where it's just tons of people and everyone is just trying to talk over each other.
yeah,
Multiple
it's so
multiple
hard to
people are trying
get
to
your
have
chance.
conversations and it's very hard. Like the
Yeah.
max I'll go into now is depending on like what it is like 5 maybe 6, but
Hmm.
like if it gets larger than that, I'm just quiet. I'll listen to everything being said.
Yeah, yeah. No, I get that. I find it's a lot easier, and this is kind of a, not really a speedrunning thing, but like a kind of the way that voice calls work and stuff like that. Is it's like, say you're in person and you have, 10 people in a room. It's really easy to like break up and have smaller conversations. You have like
Hmm.
2 people over here talking about one thing, 2 people over here talking about another, maybe 4 people talking about something else. But in a VC, because you can all hear each other all the time, same volume, same everything, you kind of like, it's kind of, if you have more than one conversation going on, it gets really, really hectic. Like I used to
Yeah.
hang out in VCs all the time with my friends. I've definitely fallen off of that. But like I know there were times like when, for instance, when people were getting really into Fortnite, uh,
Hmm.
if there was a Fortnite game in the call, it just became like, because people are,
You
they're
have to
playing the game,
do,
they're
yeah, you have to
communicating about
do,
the game, right?
yeah, exactly. You have
It's
to do call outs, you have to do,
yeah, exactly. And
yeah,
it's perfectly great if you're playing the game or you're spectating the game or whatever. But if you're trying to talk about other stuff too, it's like it's, yeah, it just kind of
yeah.
gets wild, and not my thing. And then, sometimes we would have like 2 Fortnite games, and I'm just like, oh, okay, this is wild. And
So
even
sometimes
without
at
stuff like that,
that
yeah,
line you need to create like two VCs or more.
yeah,
Like have like
for sure, for sure,
multiple games going and like a group. Yeah, you're all not hanging out together, but you're still playing the game you want to play with friends. You're still hanging out. Yeah, you're not with a certain someone or you're not hanging out with everyone, but it's more controlled, you know
yeah,
and you're not like having multiple conversations going, multiple games overlapping. Because like
yeah,
after a while, like I'll get headaches from too many voices. So
yeah, 100%. I'm with you there. Yeah, it's one of the reasons I've been traveling so much um recently, like ever since kind of June last year. I've been, because again, like I said earlier, I've made so many really good friends through the speedrunning community, and through these communities I've been in the past few years. Um but like, hanging out on Discord and calls, it's great, but hanging out in person is just so much better.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So like I said, I mean, I've been traveling a lot recently to try and make as many chances as possible to meet up with people. So like, like last year went to Ohio to hang out with friends, went to Pennsylvania, obviously went to TwitchCon.
Are you going this
uh,
year?
I'm not going to TwitchCon this year because not really interested in going to Vegas. And a lot of the thing is when TwitchCon was announced last year, none of us had really met up. Um, but a lot of my friends were like, "Yeah, we're going." So I'm like, "Okay, well, this is perfect the opportunity to go." And then I wound up actually, going and meeting friends a couple times before TwitchCon.
Mm.
But we'd booked it quite a bit in advance. But like this year, like I've already, um, like I've taken, I think at this point 6 trips to the United States this year because I live in Canada.
Wow.
And I have 2 more booked already. I'm next month I'm going to Chicago and then I'm going to Nashville in December. So
Nice.
I'm basically taking a lot of chances to travel and go and visit people and go do things. Like I went to GDQ this year in Minnesota, and yeah, like just going to be able to meet these people and different people too, right? Like the trip to Nashville is to meet people I haven't met before,
Yeah.
um, and yeah, like just being able to meet all these new people that like I hang out with. I would call them my friends. I talk to them on a regular daily basis, but
Yeah.
some of them I've never met in person, and it's like it's cool being able to have friends from all over that I've met through this, but also it's like, oh damn, it sucks that I haven't like met you,
Yeah.
but being able to do that. So like I've been lucky that I'm able to I've been luckily able to like travel and make those connections and stuff, and because I've been able to make that work, um, I've been taking advantage of it. But
Oh yeah, and
it's
I would too
yeah,
if I was in that situation. Like I had a good paying job, and I'm able to have the money
yeah,
to go travel and
yeah.
all
It's well,
that.
it's
Like
expensive. Like
yeah.
I I actually moved across the country late last year, and that's kind of been a catalyst for me being able to do a lot of this because I was kind of isolated out west. Like I'm from Calgary, but it's a great city, great. I love Alberta, great province, but it's very isolated from a lot of places in the U.S., like the Midwest, California, like the East. All these places are just so far away.
Yeah.
Whereas now I moved to Ontario, and if I want to go to the Midwest, if I want to go to Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, Boston, anything like that, it's driving distance, right? So
Yeah.
because I'm able to drive to visit friends and stuff, I'm able to go on all these trips without having to worry about like because every time I was doing a trip last year before moving, it was I'm flying there, and that really adds up.
Oh
And
yeah. 100%.
yeah, so being able to drive, it really
That, and it's
helps.
also a good, it's also a plus too, because if you fly over there and then you have to get a rental car or you have to get a taxi, a Uber or whatever. But if you take your own car, then
Yeah,
you could just drive anywhere you want.
yeah, no, like I mean, it was fortunate. Like a lot of the trips we were doing, there was always people nearby with cars, so didn't really have to worry about it. The one exception was obviously when we went to TwitchCon. I did wind up getting a rental car, um, to like when we were hanging out in San Diego for TwitchCon, we didn't need one, but our plan was to go up to LA after TwitchCon and go to Disney and stuff like that. So I wound up renting a car for the drive up to LA, and then having that car, I got a nice big one, so I was able to
But a
an
lot of
eight
people
seater.
in,
So there were 8 of
yeah,
us going to Disney, and I was able to drive us all because Disney's not in LA, it's in Anaheim. It's quite a
yeah.
drive, and there were a lot of things where it's just like having that car was really really nice.
Hmm.
Um, Now, if it was just me renting a car, it definitely costs a lot. But for 8 people sharing the cost of a car to go to Disneyland, it's like no big deal, right? It's like it really really makes it a lot more affordable. So
Yeah. I am. I don't know. I'm hopeful that I can get a job soon because
Yeah,
I would like to go to TwitchCon this year because it's so close to me. It's in Las Vegas, so it's like it's pretty close. I'd still have to get a flight, and
yeah,
I would have to be paying for two for me and my wife to go.
yeah.
But we kind of have like a well at the moment not anymore, but we had a plan going on that my stepmom's mom was going to join us because whenever we her I and my wife have never us three have never really hung out and like went
Mhm.
to Vegas. Like everyone else has gone to Vegas with her. So it's like now it's our time to shine, you know? Um so
Yeah.
the whole thing was that apparently the plan that her plan was that she was going to cover our plane tickets. So all we
Oh,
had to do was just get the I had to get a job to get the money for the TwitchCon tickets and she'd get the like the hotel room and like the plane tickets, you know, everything else. And we would just hang out when we were done at TwitchCon for that day. You know, we would head to TwitchCon, do the whole hang out with friends, meet friends, so on and so forth. Go back to the hotel, have dinner with her, or have dinner with friends, and then meet up with her later, uh, and so on and so forth for the entire weekend, and then leave the final day.
yeah,
But at the moment, uh, not working out. So hopefully TwitchCon is somewhere nearby in the near future again. So, because I would love to meet everyone, and
oh yeah, for sure.
it's just where I live. I only have out of high school. I only have one friend that I rarely talk to because he's just so busy all the time and all that. But it's like I have to go pick him up and then drive to my house for us to hang out, or I drive to his house to hang out, and that's pretty much it. And it's just for a day and so on and so forth. Like that's fun, don't get me wrong, but and it only happens every now and then, you know. Other than that, I'm, watching YouTube or streaming or, doing the podcast or anything. So meeting other people and all that is just it's been a really good thing.
Yeah,
And I'd love to meet everyone.
yeah. No, I feel that because, like I said, from Calgary, and a lot of my because like I'm a little bit older than a lot of people, especially in the Mario community and stuff. Um, but a lot of my friends were kind of at different stages in their life. Like so, of my like closest friends, one of them just had a kid or whatever, and uh kind of stopped having time to hang out, do that stuff. One
Yeah.
moved to England for work, so I was also kind of down to one really close friend who I was able to hang out with, and again, very similar situation where if we wanted to hang out, he lived across the city, and he unfortunately due to some injuries was unable to drive for a while. um
Yeah.
so it was basically he was actually living with his mom at the time, so sometimes he was able to get a ride over, but basically it was I was picking him up or whatever, and like I'm more than happy to do that.
Yeah.
um and you know really good friend still, but just being able to be out here, I have a few more friends that are close-ish. I mean, it would be nice to be even closer, but again, it is what it is. But like the fact that I mean, I was just back in Alberta a few weeks ago. I was there for a couple weeks for vacation and for work, and I was able to hang out with all my Alberta friends. So it's like, and all my family there. So it's like I'm still able to get back there and go. And like I said, next month I'm going back to Alberta for I I didn't say this, but I don't know why I said like I said. Anyway, next month I'm going back to Alberta for work, so get to see them again. So the fact that I'm out here and I'm still going back there for work and for other stuff is nice. That it kind of gives me more flexibility and stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm lucky that I'm able to work from kind of anywhere in the country. So
Yeah.
I'm able to kind of do that, and like you said earlier, if you're going somewhere, it's you and your wife. it's harder to do things.
Everything
Whereas for me,
everything
I'm
is
just
pretty much
single.
doubled.
Yeah, exactly.
So
For me, like and I live with my brother right now, so um like I have a dog and a cat, but oftentimes when I go on a trip, I leave them with him. Like I mean, he's not here right now, so if he's not here, then I'll have to get boarding and get somebody to come look after the cat. But it's not that bad because most of the time he's here for work or he's here, and so if I leave, he can look after them. If he leaves, then I'm looking after them solo. But um, yeah, like for the most part, it's just I've been very lucky with opportunities, so I
yeah.
can't be very upset about that. And yeah, like I mean, as it relates back to speedrunning, like a lot of the a lot of the friends that I've been hanging out with, like from the speedrunning communities and stuff, being able to get there in person, like I we did a trip in May, and we actually, me and my friend, we did some Super Mario 64 two players one controller speedrun.
Mm. I
That
heard I
was
heard those are
so
just
hard.
so fun.
It's
They're
so
hard but
hard.
so
Oh my goodness.
fun.
Because so like both me and the person I did it with, we're approximately equally skilled level. Like we got like I think 56s in 70 star, like low 20x in 120, and like 17s in 16 star. And so we did a 16-star run, and the amount of game overs we had in Dark World, man, it was a lot. Because we're not like, we don't want to go slow, we're trying to go fast, we're trying to do strats and stuff. So we were alternating, who's on what side of the controller and stuff, and we were trying to go fast. We did get it eventually, and it was like, it was pretty cool. But it was a rough speed run. But it's fun to do some challenges like that. I've also done it with Super Mario Odyssey, where each one of us had one Joy-Con, with another friend. So
Mm.
be like, there's so much cool stuff you can do with speed running. And like,
Oh yeah.
you can do the basics, or you can do like the challenges. You can do things with people. You can do, I've done a lot of relay races in the multi Mario community, like where
Um,
one person does one game, one person does another. Those are really fun, and ways to get to know other people. And
or
you
how
know
Lasos did what his 16-star tournament and stuff like that. Like
his 16-star community tournament that never ended.
yeah. Yeah.
That
But
tournament, it I don't remember, if I think I was in the semifinals. It was me and West Dog in the semis, and then I don't remember who was on the other side. I think they weren't up to the semis yet, and it just never finished. So yeah,
wow.
unfortunately that one didn't finish. So because I was undefeated, I'm going to claim victory in it. Um, but yeah, no, like obviously that was kind of just like a for fun, like
Yeah,
poke around
but that
tournament.
that brings like everyone together
Yeah,
and
and same thing. Pope Squidward had like a 16-star tournament in his community that was really fun. And
mhm.
like in that one, I was trying to, because I was one of the top seeds in that one as well, and I was trying to try and like make it more fun and more, like, because nobody wants to see a person with a 17-minute time stop a person with a 25-minute time.
Yeah.
So I was like, going for stupid strats, like going
Hmm.
for pixel clip and CCM and
Making content, you mean? Like
exactly, making content. Yeah, exactly. Like, and those fun tournaments are cool. I also like the more serious tournaments, like Laysauce's tournaments that he would put on, the Saucy 70, Saucy 120. Just some of the best content and some of the best times I've had in the community were with those tournaments, watching them. I got into commentating through those tournaments, and actually, really cool. Like, I mean, because I was doing some of the smaller, tournaments, like commentating for Lasos and commentating for those things, I actually got recommended to both GSA and ESA, so the Global Speedrun Association and the European Speedrunners Assembly. For both of their
nice.
events, I got recommended as, and was signed on as a commentator. So I was able to commentate for a Break the Record live
That's
event.
awesome.
Yeah, and like and was able to commentate for what was the other one? One of them was like Break the Record Live. One of them was basically Break the Record Live, but it was not put on by ESA. It was just put on by GSA. So it was like they were basically both the same thing. It was just put on by different organizations. And it's really cool events, and getting to commentate with really cool people. Like obviously, some of like the biggest names in the field, like West Dog and Collins at the time. Unfortunately, I haven't done any of that in quite a while, and kind of fell off of that. And the whole community, I mean, at least from my knowledge, kind of shifted away. Actually, I was gonna say shifted away from tournaments, but you know what? There's actually been quite a few that I recall, but never. How do I put this? The parts of the community that I'm more active in kind of shifted away from that, right?
Yeah.
And other parts of the community kind of picked up that torch and went with that. So like some of the newer runners that I'm not as familiar with, like um, I'm really blanking on her name right now. Amanda NBD, I believe, did an International Women's Month tournament with a bunch of
Nice.
women runners to try and get some of that stuff. So that was a really cool one. Had definitely had some friends in that one. There was do yeah, I'm blanking on some names, but I can picture a few other people who've done some tournaments. Like so there's like the league and stuff like that. There's been some really cool stuff in the communities that people put on, and I mean honestly, it's crazy because like some people, like obviously, for instance, like Lay Sauce at the time of the latest tournament was like a professional, was like a full-time streamer. That was his job. So like,
Hmm.
he's making money through this and it's his job. But like the first one he put on was just like he wasn't doing it to make money, right? Like he was just doing it because it was something he was passionate about. He wanted a tournament, he wanted to be in it, he wanted to run this thing. And like
Yeah.
that kind of part of the community where you have all these passionate people who are just like, this is something I want to do. I'm going to put in all this effort. You have some like really cool like tournament organizers and people who put in a lot of time. Saren, BDF, these people like that have put on so many cool events and so many cool things for the community. Like honestly, it's the Mario community is pretty spoiled. I mean, Saren's done stuff outside of Mario as well, but like,
Yeah,
uh,
I don't think other than like a
yeah,
couple like tournament Twitch channels who do like Zelda things and like
yeah,
bingo stuff, other than that, I don't really see like any like tournament style um Zelda games. Cuz I think
right.
also because of how like
It's longer
yeah,
usually,
longer and like or the
and a
shorter
lot.
categories just have like harder tricks and
Yeah, a lot
stuff
less
like that.
consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like, well, that's kind of the thing that like for me, the reason that I'm not really interested in Zelda speedruns, because I am interested in watching some Zelda speedruns. Like again, I watched Clint do 100% Ocarina of Time speedruns for years. I would watch him every night basically. And then like obviously I would watch Narcissa Wright do Wind Waker and stuff and all these things. And I loved watching these things. And then Pope Squidward as well, Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time. But the the interest in running them has just never been there because like I mean I think to put it a good way, in Mario 64, if you mess up a star, completely mess up, ruin, you die, hop back in the level, do it again.
Yeah.
All you've
Or isn't
lost is the
it where
time that
you
you died there, and then
or
you
can't
you hop back in and
you
you start. In Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask, if you mess up a trick, your run's over sometimes. Like
yeah.
one trick messed up can completely destroy the run, and there's no coming back from it. And there's so much. It's such a so much higher of a barrier to entry as well. Like if you want to run, say, Majora's Mask NMG, no major glitches, Lasauce is a good example. Like he learned the route and he started doing speedruns and he was good. But the amount of time that he was putting in, like we were hanging out in VCs at this time when he was learning it, and he would put in hours and hours. Like he was working full time, and then he would come home and he would stream, and then he would put in tons of hours learning this. So it's like he's streaming Mario 64 runs and then he's like learning this Zelda run, and he put in so many hours of just learning it before he even brought it to stream at all. you know
Hmm.
Having to learn all these tricks, having to get consistent with them, having to to do all these things and learn, like, you know, what to do if you fail in certain places. There's just so much more knowledge to learn. Whereas in Mario 64, it's like, okay, here's the stars you do for a 16-star run. As you get better and better, you can improve the strats for those specific stars, but you're not changing the route necessarily. You're
Yeah.
just doing that star a little faster, and
Yeah.
you're improving your movement and you're getting faster. It's like it's a very movement based game, and it's very split up. Like, you know, again, you do one star and then you go on to the next one and you go on to the next one, and each one is kind of its own thing. Whereas in Zelda, it's, you know, you have to manage your bombs and manage your arrows, and all this stuff is very dependent on each other. And, you know, some of these glitches are insanely precise, and the setups, and it's just so nuts.
Yeah. No,
So
I
that's it's very very high barrier to entry. So I never really want to do it myself, but it's
yeah.
really cool to watch.
I used to speedrun Majora's Mask any percent glitchless, and like that was a struggle. Um,
Right. Yeah.
and I started off like I know some glitches and like the basic ones like ISG,
Yeah.
bomb boosting, and that's just because I've watched Pope. You know, I watched Pope, Layson, and all these other Majora's Mask rando players and speedrunners just do these glitches and all that, so I was able to pick it up. But like doing some of the and it's with glitchless, it's just the movement base. Like you have to be sometimes it's a precise movement and all that stuff, but yeah, it's you have to really like uh practice and all that stuff because like you said, it's like if you mess up on a trick, one you might be able to save it depending on like how bad this it went, but sometimes
Yeah.
it's a run killer,
Yeah.
you know.
And it's just it's so brutal. Like it can really depend, right? Because, like, say you're doing, I don't know, say you're doing uh why is my brain failing me? Ocarina of Time, defeat Ganon run.
Mm-hmm.
So the run's like what, 15 minutes, 10-15 minutes, somewhere in there. You know,
Yeah.
it's not a very long run. If you get to the wrong warp and you mess it up, um, it's
That's run
not
over.
it's run over perhaps, but it's also okay. You've lost 10 minutes. You can reset. Go again.
Mm-hmm.
If you get to a specific part in a 100% run and mess it up, you know, because a lot of the Zelda runs are really long, right? Like
Yeah.
a 4 hour run, and you mess up a trick, and all of a sudden it kills your run. Like that's brutal, right?
Yeah.
Um, like that's the thing. Like, again, like I do these longer speed runs as well. Like my Galaxy 2 242 star PB is like 14 hours. But again, if I mess up on one of the stars, even if I game over, I can just, you know, go get more lives, go back and start it again, right? So
Time saved for the next run.
there's not, much less that will kill the run. Like, once you get good enough to the point where you don't have the time. Now, in a 242 star run, I don't even think world record level would would like, I think it's a death in world record level. I think you can still keep going.
Yeah.
Like, you know, in Mario 64, even you could probably get world record in 120 star with a death if you manage to do everything else really well. It would be tough, but
Yeah.
I think it's possible because there is time over the run. But like in the shorter categories, you know, it's a lot more precise. But again, in those ones, you know, you can just, the run takes a lot less time. So if you're 15 minutes into a run and you make a mistake and you lose a run, it's a lot less taxing than being 3 hours into a run, and, you know, you're like, well, there goes my whole 3 hours, you know.
Yeah. So we're getting pretty close to the end. Just a few more questions, and then you can ask me questions. So we talked a little bit about the beginning of your career and the middle. Um, so, and I know you said you're doing a lot more travel this year, but my
Mhm.
question is next year, do you plan on still like coming back to speedrunning a little bit more, or are you fine just where you're at?
It's interesting. I don't plan on not speedrunning. Um, if that makes sense. I have, like, you know, all my speedrunning stuff here, and I'm totally down to do more speedrunning. I just I've just not been in, a speedrunning mood recently, right? So it's just like it's all about what mood I'm in, what I'm feeling like, right? And that to me is one of the best parts about Mario 64 specifically, is if I'm feeling, maybe I've got only 30 minutes and I want to play some Mario 64, I can do that. I
Yeah.
can even do 16-star runs for a little bit. Um, so it's very low barrier of entry. Like I have my N64 set up right next to me. It would take me a matter of a couple minutes to get everything up and running and be doing speed running. So if I'm in the mood, I'm totally down to do speed running. I do want to do um some more speed runs. Like there are some goals that I haven't got yet that I definitely want to hit. Like I want to get sub 2 hours in 120 star. I know I can do it, and I just need to, be in the right mindset. So I do want to do that. I don't know if that'll come later this year. I don't know if it'll come next year. I don't know. Whenever I'm, in the right headspace for it is kind of my thing. So I'm not done with speedrunning for the rest of my life, but I am, you know, currently just not really doing it. I'm not feeling it, but it's not like a set break or anything. It's just whenever I'm
Yeah.
up for it.
Now another question. This is like, well, you brought it up a little bit. It's like you're not done, but you also don't want to like be burnt out. How do you balance that? Do you just take a break for a while and then come back, or do you go on a long hiatus? Couple months, couple weeks, maybe a year. Like how do you deal with it?
So I wouldn't say I've ever really been burnt out by speedrunning. I'm like I said earlier, mentioned earlier, I do have ADHD. I'm very much I will get distracted and I will go do something else. Um, I'm not like I've never been a person who my like like obviously people like Lasos and Pope Squirter and stuff. Their career is based around it. Like they if they switch up to do something else, they're losing money basically.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of have to. And the people who are pushing for really good times. I've never been pushing for a high level. I've been just kind of like trying to beat myself, trying to improve. Right. So I because of that and like compiled with the how do I put it, kind of being easily distracted. I mean, and this isn't just a speedrunning thing, this is with every game. I'll play it when I'm in the mood for it. I'm like, yeah, I'm really feeling this game, and I'll play it for a few weeks, maybe a month, and then something else will come up, or I'll start doing something else, and then I won't come back to it for a while. So I've never been in a place where I've been playing it so long that I just get burnt out, because I'll just I'll get distracted by something else, and it won't even be because, oh, I don't want to play Mario anymore. It'll be because, oh, this thing looks fun, I'll do this, right? So
I think
yeah,
that's
personally I've never
how
had to struggle with that, but I know a lot of people have. So
Yeah, and I think that's how I was when I was speedrunning Majora's Mask. Like, it was fun, don't get me wrong, but like, I wanted to do other stuff on top of it. But like, trying to keep up, because with speedrunning, and if you get really good, like, you have to keep up the movement.
oh yeah,
And you
yeah,
have to
no, for
keep
sure.
learning, you have to keep memorizing the route and all that. But if you're doing other things on top of that, other games, other streams, other stuff that keeps you busy, sooner or later you're not going to remember those. So it's like, and that's how I was. And with streaming and all that, I felt burnout through streaming, but
Hmm.
like never with speedrunning. I just had other things I wanted to play as well, so speedrunning kind of got put on the back burner. But I've been watching a lot of Majora's Mask stuff recently, and I might come back. I'm not sure. I was talking to a friend, and he's never played it, and he wants to play Majora's Mask, and he said he might. He says it seems interesting to speedrun, so I might come back and teach him, and then we'll see by then. So, but yeah,
You're
we
gonna
have a.
ruin your friend's life by bringing him into speedrun? No, I'm kidding.
So we got a couple minutes left. Do you have any questions for me before we end?
Well, oh, there was something I was just thinking of that I completely forgot because my brain doesn't like being a proper brain sometimes. Oh, what was it I was gonna say? Oh, yeah, I was gonna say, so like also I feel like my speedrunning style, doesn't really lend itself to a lot of that burnout as well. Um, on account, like a lot of people, and don't get me wrong, it also doesn't lend itself to getting particularly good. So like I would say it's pretty well established that in order to get good you have to practice. But my idea of practice is is definitely not the most optimal. I'm not somebody who will go in and spend an entire day working on strategies and like doing little things. I'm the kind of guy who just likes to do runs, and I'll do runs and then I'll work on like tricks for maybe a bit warming up or something like that. um but for the most part I like doing runs. So um a lot of my practice, a lot of my playing of the speed runs was just I'll just go in and do a run here or there, or I'll maybe I'll spend 30 minutes warming up practicing the stars that I'm worst at, and then I'll go do runs.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, like I'm making a lot more mistakes. I'm a lot less consistent than somebody like, again, bringing up Lay Sauce. But he's spending, I would argue, more time practicing strategies and getting ready for runs than he's doing runs, right?
Yeah.
And like that's a thing for all, like pretty much all high level players or higher level players, is that they're spending a lot of that time practicing and not doing the runs. And for me, the runs are where all the fun is. So
I focus on like, so
yeah,
I watch Richard Sage a lot, and he
right,
is one of the top runners. Like
yeah,
he's either has world record second or third in Ocarina of Time, no SRM defeat Ganon. And every time he goes, he'll either practice like an hour or so before he starts stream, and then he'll start stream and he'll instantly go to runs. Or I see him take an hour or 30 minutes or so and do practices, and he just does it by sections. He'll
yeah,
do the movement from the Link's house to the sword, to the rupees, to the shop to get the shield, and then to Deku. And like all that is precise movement, and he'll do that for a little bit, and then he'll move from inside Deku Tree to burning the web to getting the item delay or like whatever, and then he'll do the B1 skip and all that stuff. So he does sections of it, and then
right.
to warm up, and then he does it. um but what
Yeah, I think
was
that's a
with you
good
leading up to
approach.
that? What was the question you wanted to ask?
Oh no, I didn't really have a question. It was more just like
Oh, okay.
that's kind of my style. Is I literally just primarily focus on runs. I don't really like, even when like learning a new speed run, I'll play through the game and then like look up strats and stuff. Kind of after that, kind of I like to get a feel for it and just like do runs. And for Zelda, you really can't do that at all.
Yeah.
So it's doesn't lend itself to my style. But obviously Mario is really good for that, where you can just learn one star at a time and you can just do whatever. It's no, it's been great. Like I mean, I I don't know. Let's see. Questions for you. Um, when are you gonna play another Resident Evil in VC with me?
If they ever have a new one come out.
Bet. I'm in. I'm
No,
in.
that was a lot of fun. I
No, like that was sick. I literally bought the entire Resident Evil franchise because of that. Like I'd never played Resident Evil before,
dude,
and
that
then like
that
we hung out in VC, and you were playing it. It was when
I
Village came
think,
out,
yeah, it was right when Village came
and
out.
you were playing it in VC, and I was like, this is fucking sick. So I I went and I bought Village, and I bought Biohazard, and I bought all of them as well, and I decided to start playing through the franchise. And I played through Resident Evil 0, and I played through most of Resident Evil 1, and then I got distracted by shiny things, because my little goldfish brain can't function properly. So I have yet to play 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7, but I'd also beat Village because I played that one first.
Yeah.
Um,
I remember playing, and I was at the doll section and I was losing it. And you said, "I'll be right back." And I was like, I'm not moving. I'm
Yeah,
waiting until you come back with. I think you went to go get food or something, and I
yeah.
was like, dude, when you get back, you better unmute so I know you're here because I'm not doing this by myself.
Yeah, dude, I love those games. I'm a big Resident Evil fan now. Like the movies and stuff as
Mm-hmm.
well. I really like it. I don't know if you've ever watched Resident Evil speedruns, but
Actually, I have. I think her name was. I think it's Cat Link.
Cat Link,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
I
I saw
watch.
her
I
at
watch her.
GDQ. Oh my god, dude, she's some of those things are so cool. Yeah, I saw
Mhm.
her at GDQ and I followed her from there. That like dude, the Resident Evil speedruns are absolutely insane. But
Oh yeah.
I again, you know, like a lot of these games, it's like I love the game, never want to speedrun it. You know,
Exactly.
a lot of games are just they don't lend themselves to my style of speedrunning and what I would enjoy. You know, like if it's gonna be a game for me, it's gonna be a game like again Diddy Kong Racing, Mario. Well, in Diddy Kong Racing, you do one race at a time, right? Like you only
Hmm.
have to learn like one, and I mean speedrunning in that game is basically just racing fast. You know,
Yeah.
you have like a specific route in which you do things, and there are like there are glitches. There are a lot of really cool glitches that you can do um, in that game. So there's some cool stuff, but you don't need to do that to speedrun, right? You can just race fast. You can just play the game. Same with Mario, and that's what I like. That's what I like to do. I like to play it just start off by just playing a game, trying to complete it fast, slowly improve, slowly get more strategies, more cool stuff. Um, I like to do some fun tricks and yeah, it's just about having fun and honestly, this talk has made me want to boot up Mario 64. Like
All right.
legitimately, like I'm considering probably maybe this weekend booting it up and doing some runs.
Let's
I don't know.
go.
We'll see.
So, with that being said, everyone, audience, go follow Volantis, Dale, whatever you want to call him. He's many names off of the twitch.tv website. But his link will be in the description below. Go follow him whenever he goes live and does runs. Spread some love and give him some good luck.
Yeah.
Um, Last thing is, do you have any advice for new uh, speedrunners coming to communities?
Um. Yeah. Just don't be afraid to talk to people. Like if you're stuck, if you're lost, even if you just want to like people to have to run with or to talk to, like the just go out and like find communities where there are people doing it that you think are cool and just talk to them, join voice calls and hang out with people. It's like honestly been life changing for me. And when it comes to actually like speed running, if you want to get good, don't listen to my advice, but because I'm very much so not one of those people who cares about being good. I just care about having fun with it, and to me that's the ultimate goal. Is it is at the end of the day a hobby. It's something to have fun with. So
Yeah, exactly.
I mean I'm gonna do my stuff and yeah.
All right. Well, Atlantis, Dale, thanks for coming on. This was a lot of fun. Like I did not expect this to go this way because I have questions that that's sit in front of me and I just I'll go on ask and give your answer and all that. But this we kind of just like ventured off. We had
Oh
a
yeah,
topic,
100%.
we
That's
ventured off, and I think that's what these podcast episodes need to be. It's
yeah,
sitting
that's gonna be
down,
every conversation with me ever with anyone
sitting
is
down,
into
talking
nowhere.
to the streamers slash speedrunner, and just learning everything. Not just
Yeah.
monotone. All right, so here is the next question. Having actual interaction and even though it does venture off, like we went from speedrunning to like communities off to TwitchCon and stuff like that. That's still fine. But yeah, it was a lot of fun having you on, and I really do appreciate it. So again, to the audience, go follow Dale. Send him some good luck. Send him some love. He's really awesome. So with all that, that is it for us. Peace out, everybody.
Bye.